As I drove past the old house, its rundown facade seemed to mock me. The peeling paint and boarded-up windows were stark reminders of the secrets it held within. Memories flooded my mind, each one a painful echo of the past that refused to fade with time. Years had passed since my little brother disappeared, vanishing without a trace into the darkness of those walls. We were shattered, and the once happy home became a hollow shell. Even though time had passed, the sharp ache of his absence remained, a constant reminder of the irreplaceable void in our family. So, fueled by a mixture of alcohol and desperation, I made the impulsive decision to break into the house. The stairs creaked. It echoed through the empty space. It sent shivers down my spine. With each step, the weight of anticipation grew. It mixed with the bitter taste of dread in my mouth. I stood before the discolored patch of drywall. I hesitated for only a moment before finding the courage to confront what lay beyond. With a rush of adrenaline, I charged forward, crashing through the barrier that had taunted me for so long. And then, there it was. A chilling sight that sent my heart plummeting to the pit of my stomach. Bones. Tiny, fragile bones scattered across the basement floor. Each one was a silent testament to the horrors that had happened within these walls. My breath caught in my throat. I saw the grisly scene before me. The realization of what I had stumbled upon hit me like a freight train. But it was the absence of something that truly unnerved me. The skulls. Every single one of them missing, leaving behind a haunting void that seemed to swallow me whole. I struggled to grasp the horror before me. A very small set of bones drew me in. Unmistakable bite marks scarred their surface. The sight was enough to send me reeling. My legs gave way and I collapsed to the cold ground. And then I saw it. A trap door. It was a doorway to darkness. It beckoned me with an ominous allure. It dared me to uncover the secrets hidden below. My hands trembled. My heart was heavy with dread. I pushed aside my fear and went down. I had an unwavering need to uncover the truth. I felt compelled, regardless of the consequences. With cautious trepidation, I raised my head, peering into the dimly lit basement. The tunnel had led me to an unexpected place, emerging behind a dusty dryer in a corner of the room, facing the stairs. My mind raced. I thought about the implications of what I had found. Each possibility was more chilling than the last. But before I could understand it all, the lights flickered and died. They plunged the basement into an inky blackness that seemed to swallow me. My breath caught in my throat. Footsteps broke the heavy silence. They were the unmistakable sound of someone descending the stairs. Each one echoed like a death knell in the darkness. The presence drew closer. A sense of dread washed over me. A whispered voice sent shivers down my spine. It was a voice from my nightmares. It brought up memories long buried beneath fear and trauma. I knew I had to hide, to conceal myself from whatever lurked in the shadows. My heart raced. I sought refuge behind the dusty appliance. Every nerve screamed for me to stay hidden, to not risk seeing the approaching horror. And then it began. The spectral voice seemed to coil around me. Its words were unclear but filled with an otherworldly evil. They sent shivers down my spine. I dared not move. I did not even draw a breath. The whispered presence grew stronger. Its ghostly form materialized before me in the darkness. A faint glow filled the air. It cast eerie shadows that danced across the basement floor. In the heart of the gloom stood a figure cloaked in mist. I could scarcely believe my eyes. The ghostly figure drifted closer. It twisted its face into a mask of anguish and despair. A cold chill washed over me. I saw the true nature of the entity before me. It was an echo of the past, trapped here forever. Panic surged through me like a tidal wave, propelling me up the stairs in a frenzied dash for safety. I reached my car in a blur of terror. My hands trembled as I fumbled for the keys. The darkness pressed in around me like a suffocating shroud. The driver twisted the ignition desperately. The engine roared to life, casting a feeble glow in the dark. But as I drove away into the night, a large shadow fell over my car, a chilling reminder that the horrors lurking in the darkness were never far behind. Every fiber of my being screamed for escape. I gunned the accelerator, fleeing from the nightmare that threatened to consume me. It began as a night like any other. My parents, off on a well-deserved vacation, had left me behind to concentrate on my upcoming exams. As they drove away, I waved goodbye, already feeling the weight of the looming study sessions. Little did I know, that night would turn into an experience unlike any I had ever had in our home. As the clock ticked past midnight, I found myself engrossed in my books. The only light was the dim glow of my desk lamp. The house was silent. It was only broken by the occasional rustle of pages or the scratch of my pen. But then, amidst the stillness, I heard something that made my heart skip a beat. Deciding to take a break from the relentless studying, I closed my textbooks and opened my laptop. I had to prepare a presentation for one of my classes the next day. As I worked on slides and gathered information, fatigue began to weigh heavily on my eyelids. The soft glow of the screen cast dancing shadows around the room, the only company in the late hours of the night. Amid the hum of the laptop's fan and the gentle click of the keys, I heard it. It was a faint whisper. It was so soft that it seemed to be just a trick of the wind. I paused, my heart skipping a beat as I strained to catch the elusive sound. But as quickly as it had come, the whisper vanished, leaving me to wonder if I had imagined it altogether. Turning off my laptop, I made my way to bed, the soft embrace of my blankets inviting me into a blissful slumber. But just as I was about to drift off, I heard it again. A whisper brushed against my ear. It was so faint that I almost dismissed it as a trick of my tired mind. But as I listened, the whispers grew louder. They became more insistent and echoed through my dark room. Fear tingled at the edges of my consciousness as I sat up, straining to decipher the source of the eerie murmurs. The sound seemed to come from the shadows. Their words were unintelligible but filled with a haunting resonance. It sent shivers down my spine. With hesitant steps, I descended the stairs. Each creak of the wooden planks echoed through the silent house like a thunderous roar. The darkness seemed to deepen with every step, enveloping me in its cold embrace. It was as if the very air had thickened, heavy with a foreboding presence that sent shivers down my spine. Then, as if coming from the shadows, I saw her. She was a figure cloaked in a spectral haze. Her form flickered like a flame in the night. Her eyes were twin pools of darkness. They held a sorrow so deep that it seemed to pierce me. Her touch brushed my skin. It sent a chill down my spine. It made ice creep through my veins. Yet, beneath the coldness, there was warmth. I stood frozen, unable to look away from the haunting face before me. Then, a flicker of humanity beckoned me closer. It dared me to unravel the secrets hidden within her soul. Then she began to tell me of the curse that had befallen her in this very house. A tragedy had bound her soul to its walls for decades. Her tale spoke of loss and longing, of unfinished business that tethered her to the realm of the living. In that moment, I felt a surge of empathy for the tormented spirit before me. With trembling hands, I reached deep within myself. I was summoning the courage to offer a prayer. It was a plea for peace and release from the chains of her anguish. As the words left my lips, a gentle light surrounded the ghostly figure. It cast away the shadows that bound her. With a final, grateful smile, the spirit faded into the ether. It left behind a sense of calm that lingered in the air. We silenced the haunted whispers that had plagued our home. A new calmness settled over the house like a comforting embrace, replacing them. From that night on, our home was free from the specter's grip. The halls resonated with the peaceful quiet of sleep. The memory of that encounter stayed with me forever, but I found solace in knowing that, for one lost soul, the journey had finally ended.
My parents were young and exuberant. They had just secured our new abode. It was a sanctuary from the cramped confines of our old apartment. As 18-year-old, I eagerly explored every nook and cranny of our newfound haven. The spaciousness was a revelation. It was especially after the suffocating confines of our old home. But below the excitement lay unease. I felt it the moment I descended into the basement. Unlike the elegant facade of the upper floors, the basement exuded an aura of cold sterility. My curiosity led me to investigate. My fingers traced the odd texture of the wall. My ears heard the hollow sound as my knuckles rapped against it. Fear gripped me, and I stepped out from the basement. As days turned into weeks, I found comfort in our new home. But the basement had a constant discomfort. Strange noises were common. My parents dismissed them as the house settling. But one fateful night shattered the illusion of normalcy. Drawn by the lure of a midnight snack, I came in the kitchen at midnight. I heard creepy moan coming from the basement. Fear coiled around my heart. With trembling hands, I turned on the lights. Then, amid the silence, came a whisper. I saw a shadowy figure at the corner of the corridor. A chilling presence filled it, and suddenly it vanished in thin air. Fear paralyzed me. I stood transfixed, just beyond comprehension. It was a haunting encounter. It would forever etch itself into my memory. It was a reminder of the unseen forces that lurked in the shadows of that house. As the days passed, the whispers grew more frequent. They seemed to come from the walls of the basement. I couldn't sleep. The ghostly voice haunted me. Its words echoed in my mind. I was desperate for answers. I confided in my parents, but their assurances did little to ease my fears. To them, the whispers were just a child's imaginings. They came from an overactive imagination fueled by the mysteries of our new home. But I knew better. I could feel the presence lurking in the darkness. Its evil intent was clear each night. Then one evening, I lay awake in bed. An ominous silence replaced the whispers, hanging heavy in the air. It was a silence that announced the arrival of something worse. A presence with evil intent prowled the halls of our home. As the shadows lengthened and the night deepened, I knew that I was not alone, for something ancient and evil lurked in our basement. It was waiting to claim its next victim. From that moment on, the house became a prison. Its once familiar halls turned into a terror-filled labyrinth. Each creak of the floorboards and rustle of the curtains became a sign of impending doom. They reminded of the darkness just beyond the threshold. The whispers grew louder and more insistent. I could no longer ignore the chilling feeling in our home. Night after night, I lay awake, paralyzed by fear, as the ghostly murmurs filled the air. Driven by a desperate need for answers, I resolved to confront the source of the whispers once and for all. With trembling hands, I went into the darkness of the basement. The heavy weight of the unknown pressed down on me. There in the dim basement lights, I saw it. It was a specter shrouded in darkness, its own torment twisted and bent its shape. Its eyes were empty sockets without light, their chilling intensity fixed on me. They sent shivers down my spine. Terror froze me. I could do nothing but stare as the ghostly apparition reached out to me. Its spectral fingers were extending like claws eager to claim their next victim. In that moment, I knew I faced true horror. The whispers that had plagued me for so long were the cries of a soul trapped between worlds. With trembling legs, I bolted up the stairs, my heart pounding in my chest, a primal fear driving me forward. I reached my parents' room, frantic and breathless. With trembling hands, I shook them awake. We raced through the empty halls together. The deafening beat of our hearts drowned out the echoes of our footsteps. We burst through the front door, gasping for breath. We stumbled out into the cool night air, our eyes wide with terror. The house loomed behind us. It was like a dark specter against the moonlit sky. Its windows stared down at us like accusing eyes, but I dared not look back. I dared not confront the horror that lurked within those walls.